Hello students, in this lecture we will see the difference between arguments and parameters, as well as we will see some types of functions or function categories based on the arguments and return values. Okay, before going to that topic, first let us understand clearly what is argument and what is parameter. See, both these arguments as well as parameters are variables only, so which are used in user defined functions. Variables which are used in a function call are specifically particularly called as arguments, and variables which are used in a function definition are called as a parameters. Okay, variables that are used in a function call are called as arguments, and variables that are used in function definition or function declaration are called as parameters. Arguments are the variables whose values will be passed to the called function, therefore they are called as actual parameters. Very important concept I am going to tell you now, that is the difference between actual parameters and formal parameters. So it may be asked in your theory exam, or else in your viva in a lab exam, or else it may be asked in your any competitive exams, the difference between actual parameters and formal parameters. See, arguments are the actual variables whose values will be passed to the called function, therefore they are called as actual parameters. But parameters in function definition receive their values from the arguments through a function call, therefore these parameters are called as formal parameters or dummy parameters. Until and unless arguments are not passed to these parameters which are present in function definition, these parameters in function definition will not get or will not receive any values. So function call only will send the values of arguments to these parameters which are present in function definition. So arguments in function call are called as actual parameters, and parameters which are receiving the values from arguments which are written in function call are called as formal parameters or dummy parameters. So function categories or types of functions based on the arguments and return values. There are four categories or four types are there. First types of functions are functions with no argument and with no return values, and second is second is functions with no arguments and with return values. Third one is functions with arguments and with no return values. Fourth one is functions with arguments and with return values. So first let us see first one, that is functions with no arguments and with no return values. Here this is one type of simplest method. Here this calling function does not pass any arguments to the called function, and the called function does not send back the value to the calling function. So the below one example shows this communication between calling function and called function with no arguments and no return type. Hash include stdio.h void add. Why we have declared the add function with void? Because add function is not returning any value, so we have used it as void. And open the main function with main void, and open the main function. Inside the main function, call the function. That this function call statement is like this: add in parenthesis no any arguments. So since our topic itself is functions with no arguments and no return values, here you understood clearly function with no arguments in a function call statement, and there is no any return value. So the function declaration statement contains the return type as a void instead of int or any other data type. It contains void. So now we start defining the function in the right side here, that is void add int a b c printf. Some printf statement will be there. Enter the values of a and b. Now we are going to read the values of a and b with scanf function, then compute the value of c equal to a plus b, and then print that sum in function definition only. Print the value of sum in function definition only. So since we are printing the result, that is a sum, in function definition only, the printing job of main function is printing the result is reduced by the main function. So called function itself printed or displayed the result on monitor screen. So no need to send that result back to calling function or main function. So return statement we have written here simply the keyword return semicolon. It means that called function add is not returning any value to main function here. Okay, so now we will see the second category of functions, that is functions with no arguments and with return values. Okay, see, functions with no arguments and with return values. Here this calling function does not pass the arguments to the called function, but called function will send the return value back to the calling function. There are no arguments in the function call, there are no parameters in called function, but the called function has something to do and is expected to return some values. So it has a specific data type int, float, char, etc. in its function header. So to receive the value from the called function, we have an assignment statement in calling function. Here the function call is assigned to a variable a variable c, which will collect the return value sent from the called function. Let us see this program. Left half of this program is like this, that is hash include stdio.h, declare the function with return type int, function name is add, but here if you observe there are no any parameters here, so it means that no arguments in the function call. Okay, then open the main function and int c, so declare the local variable as c and c is equal to add. So this is a function call statement with no arguments, and once this function is called, control transferred to function definition, that is int add. Only control will be transferred. Along with control there will be no any argument values will be passed, so only control will be transferred. Okay, so no parameters will be transferred here. So add is declared as already int, it means that add will return us one integer value. So inside this add also again some local variables are declared as a, b, c. Okay, so if you observe carefully, in a main function we declared only one variable, that is c, but in called function we are declaring three variables, a, b as well as c. Printf enter the values of a, b, c, read the values of a, b and c will be calculated in called function, c equal to a plus b. Okay, once you calculate this, the called function calculated this c value, it has to return that c value back to main function, return c. Okay, because of that only our title is functions with no arguments and with return types. Okay, see here it is returning c value. Once this returns c value, it occupies the place of function call system function call, that is c equal to add. So it takes a c value, takes the position location of add function. So c is equal to c. So once you get the c value, the main function displays or prints the c value on monitor screen. So this is second type of or second category of function, that is functions with no arguments but with return types. Okay, return values. So third one is functions with no with argument. Third one is functions with arguments but with no return values. We will see this one now. Okay, see, functions with arguments but no return values. Okay, here calling function sends the arguments to called function, the called function receives the arguments from the calling function, but it does not send the computed value back to the calling function here. Okay, in this example we can show the function call has arguments, and the called function also has its parameters, but the return type of called function is void because the function does not return any value. Okay, see this example. Okay, hash include std void add int a comma int b. Why we are declaring add function like this with void data type? Add will not return us any value, but why this add function will pass the arguments to called function. So here we have written it as void add int a comma int b. Open the main function. Inside that main function declare two variables m and n. Okay, okay, read the values of m and n here only, and you directly call that function here like add m comma n. If you observe here, in previous example we had used one assignment statement, but here we are not using any assignment statement in this function call. Directly we are calling that function add m comma n. So immediately transfer the control will be transferred to called function along with the arguments m and n, that is along with the values of m and n. So here once control comes to void add, that is a function definition, the parameters a and b will receive the values of m and n. So because of that only these parameters are called as dummy parameters. Okay, see here, or formal parameters. Okay, inside this function definition add, we are going to declare one more local variable c, and calculate the value of c equal to a plus b. Once you get the c value, the called function itself is displaying or printing that some value, that is a c value, on a monitor screen. So since it is only displaying that result on monitor screen, it is not returning any value back to main function. So directly simply we are writing a return semicolon and closing the function definition here. This is a third type of function category, that is functions with arguments and with no return values. Functions with arguments and with no return values. Okay, fourth one is functions with arguments and with return values. Fourth example or fourth category we will see here, functions with arguments and return values. Here calling function passes the arguments or data or value to the called function and waits for the result or value or data from the called function. Called function will send the computed value back to the calling function. Here function call has arguments, that is nothing but data. The called function has its parameters. The called function has something to do and is expected to return values. So it has a specific return data type int in its header. Okay, to receive the data value from the called function, in the calling function we use an assignment statement. The function call is assigned to a variable c, which will collect the return value sent back by the called function. So here that assignment statement is like this: c equal to add m comma n. So here m and n are arguments which receive their values in main function, that is calling function. See here this example, hash include stdio.h int add int a comma b. Here int add, it means what? Add is a function which returns us integer type of value, and parameters are also we have specified here as int a comma int b. It means that function will pass the arguments to called function, and called function also returns the value in terms of int. Because of that only it is declared as int add. Open the main function int mnc printf, enter the values of m and n, read the values of m and n with the scanf function. Then c is equal to add m and n. See here arguments are m and n. Once this function call is called, the control will be transferred to a function definition. Along with the control arguments values will be also passed. So here int add int a comma b is there. Here we will declare one more local variable as int c, and c is equal to a plus b. Once you calculate the c value, you have to that system function called function has to return the c value back to main function, so that the main function can display or print the result on monitor screen. Printf sum is equal to percentage d, that is the c value, and close the main function. This is how we use 4 different types of functions in the C language. These are the methods to calculate and print the values on or result on monitor screen. The first category of functions is functions with no arguments and with no return values. Second type is functions with no arguments and with return values. Third one is functions with arguments and with no return values. Fourth one is functions with arguments and with return values. So these are the 4 types of functions we can use in problem solving. Okay. In next class we will see parameter passing methods.